had a night to sleep on it. I've had the morning to think about it. I've had a cup of coffee. I've had a bowl of yogurt. I'm ready to rock and roll. This is Tennessee versus St. Peter's the next day. Tennessee throttles St. Peter's last night, 83-49. They were an 18.5-point favorite when this thing opened on the week. I don't know what it ended up by the end of the weekend, but one thing that was talked about was I talked about earlier in the week. St. Peter's, their last trip, they made it to the Elite Eight 2 years ago. It's not happening this year. They were fifth in the MAAC conference. They won the conference tournament and come in. One big thing that stood out about them was that they only allowed like 63 points per game. They were around 11th, 12th in the nation in scoring defense. These statistics last night, man, they are eye-opening when I get into this. They are very, very eye-opening. This game was over quick and early last night. I was watching the end of the Kentucky game, and I bet it's a beautiful day in Big Blue Nation today. Sunshine, rainbows, unicorns, Easter bunnies, all that stuff. It's just so pleasant and calm today up in Big Blue Nation. I'm not an SEC guy. I'm a Tennessee guy. When South Carolina loses, I love it. Kentucky loses, I love it. That's just who I am. Not an SEC guy. If Alabama gets beat today, great. The only one I would be okay. I would kind of like to see Auburn just to prove that their seed was wrong. But that's about it. But anyway, Tennessee comes in on a day for the SEC with Mississippi State also losing yesterday. Not a good day for the SEC, but Tennessee finished with an emphatic statement last night and against the team they should have beat handily. But especially this time of year, you can't take anything for granted. You see it in numerous games across the nation. I mean, Kentucky found out yesterday. There's 4 and 5 seeds who were down to the wire last night as well. But this thing, I was watching the end of the Kentucky game, so it was late turnover, but Tennessee went up 7-0 and never looked back. Never looked back. This game never got close. Total domination in all aspects of the game. My main key, I said if Tennessee plays Tennessee defense, they'll win this handily. Their defense last night, speaking of, these numbers are pretty impressive right here. So for the game, they held St. Peter's to 29.1% field goals and 16.7% on three-pointers. St. Peter's didn't make a single three-pointer in the second half. They were 0 for 9. That's impressive. I don't care who you're playing. That is big-time, big boy defense. And what I liked as well with them, their leading scorer coming in was Corey Washington, about 16 points per game. 2 points last night. 2 points, 1 out of 9 shooting, 0 for 3 three-pointers, and he only had 1 rebound. He was averaging, I think, like 16 and 6 coming in. They shut him down. Took him out. The only guy who really for them did much was Latrell Reed, who had 17. He was the one that I think he got teed up for chirping at the end. I mean, of course, you don't know what's said on there, so I can't really say anything to the guy. Maybe he's taking up for his team or himself, but it was I think some of the freshmen embarking with him. Some of them freshmen on Tennessee's team's got some grit in them. I like them. I like their attitudes. I'm excited to see them next year. I just hope they'll stick around. You never know in the era of the portal of what may happen, but hopefully these guys stick around because there's going to be opportunity there next year with Connect, Vescovy, and James with them finishing up their eligibility this year. But the stat line, looking at the team stats, and I just thought this was really impressive. Tennessee was 50.9% field goals, 45.8 from three-point range. I can't quite remember if that was – I don't think that's their best of the year, but that's one of their best three-point shooting efforts of the year. Again, in turn, they held St. Peter's to 16.7%, 4 out of 24. Tennessee was 72% from the free throw line. Rebounding. I always hit on rebounding. This is always a big one for me. Last night, total, absolute domination on this. Tennessee had 47 rebounds. St. Peter's had 21. St. Peter's averaged more offensive rebounds per game coming in. Tennessee 13-8 won that battle. Defensive rebounds 34-13. Tennessee. Assist. Tennessee 19, St. Peter's 3. Steals, both teams had 4 blocks, 5-1 Tennessee. Tennessee did have 15 turnovers to only 6 for St. Peter's last night. So that is really kind of your one area that they had the better of them. Points in the paint, 28-16 for Tennessee. So just total domination from them. And then for Tennessee, the scoring line, Connect 23, Ado 15, Ziegler 11 with 10 assists. Vescovy 6. Good to see him hit a couple threes. James didn't have any points, but he had 5 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He had a block. He had 3 steals. So he didn't do it in the scoring column. He did it. He affected the game in many other ways last night. We forget that with those guys, with him and Vescovy a lot of times. And Rick Barnes talked about Vescovy a little bit in the post game because they'd asked him about him making the shots. And he said, I tell Santi that, you affect the game in many ways that doesn't show up. But he said, when he's got the shot, I want him to shoot it. So we have to remember that, as frustrating as it can be sometimes with those guys in the scoring, that, man, they do a lot of good things with their defense, with their intangibles that they bring to the table as well on it. Let's see. Awaka, I thought Awaka had a good game. 8 points, 4 rebounds. He did get pulled out. Barnes said he was okay. He said he felt something in his hip. Some of you on the me last night said he'd come back in. I didn't really pay attention to that, but precautionary measures, they pulled him back out. Jordan Gainey, 6 points last night, 1 of 3 from 3-point range. JP Estrella, 6 points, 1 rebound. Jemai Meshack, 4 points, 6 rebounds on the night. Freddie Dillon, 2 points. Cam Carr, 2 points. And then Cade Phillips, Grant Hurst, Colin Coyle all got in. Didn't have any actually, Cade Phillips had 2 rebounds in his time there. The Hurst and Coyne, they made the stat line because they both had a foul in their minute. But, Tennessee could theoretically last 10 minutes played all younger guys and gotten away with it. That's how big of a dominant game this was. And, again, the fact that they win 83-49 against a team that averages giving up about 63 per game. They played their game last night. They showed what stifling defense is all about. Up next tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, the Texas Longhorns, Rick Barnes. I'm going to later today release a video previewing that game, talking about it. There's obviously Barnes coached there for years. He's close with the guys on that Texas staff. They talked about that in the post game last night. So, he said, I would rather not be playing Texas because of his friendships with those. But he said, I can tell you this, they're not going to want to lose to us, and I don't want to lose to them either. That's not the exact quote, but that's what he talked about last night. But I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going right after this. I'm going to record a series preview for baseball tonight. Tennessee starts a 3-game set with Ole Miss. I'll release that here probably around lunchtime. And then I'm going to release later this afternoon a Tennessee-Texas preview for tomorrow night. We'll be live directly after the game tomorrow night as well. I toyed with the idea of going live tonight for the baseball game. And I'll see. I may still think about it and go from there. It will be impromptu. So I'll try to send out some notification if I do decide to go that route. But we'll see how it goes and all that. But my name's Frank Rock, guys. I hope you have a great Friday. As always, go Vols.